Well, good to be with you. My name is Rob Nicholson. I'm the MP for Niagara Falls, and I'm here with my colleague Michael Cooper. And he and I have both been on the Justice Committee here for the last couple of years, but we're very concerned about a bill that's before Parliament right now. This bill is known as C-75, and I'm particularly concerned with respect to the downgrading of very many serious offenses in the criminal code. And this is why we want to bring this to your attention, because this bill is going to be before the House of Commons for third and final reading, and you, Michael, and I have a few concerns on this, don't we? Particularly with respect to the hybridization. Did you want to address that?
Yeah, well, what the government is doing is reclassifying a whole bunch of offenses that are currently solely indictable offenses. So there are three types of offenses. There are indictable offenses for the most serious offenses in the criminal code. There are summary conviction offenses, which are for minor crimes, say a minor property crime. And then there are hybrid offenses, which mean they could be prosecuted either as an indictable offense or a summary conviction offense. So what the government's doing is taking a bunch of solely indictable offenses,
serious offenses,
and making them hybrid offenses. These offenses include such things as impaired driving causing bodily harm, arson for a fraudulent purpose, human trafficking, kidnapping a minor, and that's just scratching the surface.
This is what's astounding to me. I mean, when you think about how critical it is to discourage people and to make people accountable in the area of impaired driving, the idea that somebody who is convicted of impaired driving causing bodily harm, damaging somebody, could get away with, on a summary conviction, with as little as a fine. I mean, I think most Canadians are with us on this, that this is a serious crime and it's not one that should be downgraded like that.
Well, exactly. And so why this is significant in terms of reclassifying is that the maximum sentence for these very serious offenses would go from 10 years down to 2 years less a day between if it was prosecuted as an indictable versus a summary conviction offense.
Right on.
So right now, impaired driving causing bodily harm, 10-year maximum sentence. The government is moving that up to 14 years. That's fine. We support that.
Yes.
That makes sense. A judge could fashion a sentence from up to 14 years. It could be less, but the judge would have that discretion. Now, under Bill C-75, if a prosecutor decided to go by way of summary conviction, the judge could only impose 2 years less a day.
That's the maximum.
The maximum.
Yeah, that's right, the maximum. And I think most Canadians, I brought these to people's attention over the last number of months or something, people are quite concerned about that, and it's not just that section as well.
Yeah, and on impaired driving, we're talking about the leading criminal cause of death and injury in Canada.
Yeah.
Each day, on average, 4 Canadians are killed at the hands of an impaired driver. Dozens more are injured. And so it sends exactly the wrong message. It sends the message that impaired driving causing bodily harm isn't a serious offense when we know it's a very serious offense.
Well, one of the things the minister and the government has been saying is that this will speed up the system. Well, if you're going to give somebody a very light sentence here for a very serious crime, yeah, I guess they probably won't take up too much time in the court. They might be very pleased with that. I mean, and some of the other ones as well. Kidnapping a child under the age of 14. I mean, we're just completing a study on human trafficking, and so we know how horrible this can be. But the idea that somebody who's kidnapping, small children could get away with almost no penalty whatsoever.
Well, unbelievably, during the debate in the House, Liberal MPs were trying to justify the hybridization by trying to distinguish when kidnapping is more serious or less serious. I say kidnapping is always serious.
That's right.
And should always be treated seriously in the criminal code. It's just unbelievable.
Well, exactly, and there are other offenses as well that I think most people, when you have a look at the list, and it's a long list. I mean, how many are there?
Well, over 100. I think it's 135 offenses that they've reclassified. They've just taken 135 offenses that all basically had maximum 10-year sentences. So again, very serious, maximum 10-year sentences, and without any consideration, without any thought of why Parliament might have classified those offenses as indictable offenses in the first place, just rather arbitrarily reclassified, without any study, without any consideration. And so what we had was terrorism and genocide offenses included.
Yeah.
The government at least said, we're not going to, we won't reclassify those ones because they're serious. Well, I agree with them. Genocide,
Well, but it was us that started pushing them on that. I mean, I remember we made the point. Somebody who's a terrorist, they say, well, it'll move expedite the cases. Sure, if you're a terrorist and somebody says, hey, we're got a fine, you're going to have a fine, a summary conviction offense. You can still be able to travel the world here after you've been convicted. Well, right. I guess they won't be taking up too much time, but they backed down on that. And I remember when this first came out, this bill, and we were telling them, say, look, you shouldn't be, lowering the penalties on these very serious crimes. So they bent and they collapsed those two on genocide and terrorism. But there's a lot more, and there's a lot more that they should listen to the common sense that I think is coming to them from us.
Well, exactly. They supported our amendments, as you said, and they said, well, we support the Conservative amendments because as one Liberal MP put it, let's be serious, terrorism is a serious offense. Well, newsflash to him, so too is impaired driving causing bodily harm, so too is kidnapping a minor, so too is human trafficking, and so too is, get this, administering a date rape drug. That's now a hybrid offense.
Yeah, I don't get it, and they're not moving forward on the consecutive sentencing or for human trafficking. And I made a point to them, say it's disgusting and terrible, and it's a serious crime if you traffic one person, but if you traffic 20, that's even worse. And the idea that the consecutive sentencing is, which got passed, and when we were in government, they're not moving forward on that in this particular bill here, and so that's another area of disappointment. But this is what we have to deal with these days.
Huge issue. I mean, 23,000 Canadian kids are trafficked each and every year.
And I think something like this sends out the wrong message here, that if you kidnap or, a child under the age of 14, or, if you traffic more than one human being, that you're not being exposed to consecutive sentencing here is not the kind of message I think that most Canadians want to hear. So I've been urging, as you have, to tell Canadians to please email or phone your MP to make sure your voice is heard. We only have a small window of time to do this, as the final vote will be taking place in about a week or so. And one of the things I want to remind Canadians, if you want to see a complete list of all those offenses that they are downgrading now to the possibility of a summary conviction offense, the whole list can be found at one of my websites, Rob Nicholson, all one word, .ca, and I hope people will have a look at that and let their MP know that this is a huge mistake. So those are my thoughts. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thanks, Rob.
My pleasure. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.